Hi, everyone. Wonderful to welcome you all to another episode of Icon Elevate. We've got a great guest joining us today. So, Matt Rundle, welcome to Icon Elevate. Matt is the site manager of our Icon Cancer Centre in Hobart, which has been an amazing centre for us and just keeps getting busier and busier, delivering wonderful services to the people of Hobart and broader Tasmania. So, Matt, welcome to Icon Elevate.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for inviting me and thanks for having me.
Now, you're speaking to us from the Icon Cancer Centre in Hobart at the moment?
Yeah, speaking to from my office in Hobart. Yeah, it's a chilly morning this morning. We're sort of hitting the winter period now. So, yeah, a few fresh starts.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Matt, Icon Elevate, as you know, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. It'd be wonderful just to share your career journey with the entire Icon team. So let's get into it. You've been with us now since 2016, and as I mentioned, you lead our Icon Cancer Centre in Hobart, and that's an integrated cancer centre. So it does medical oncology, haematology, radiation oncology. But you're also a pharmacist by background. So tell us about that career journey, because it's actually it's a wonderful Icon story, how someone starts in one part of the business and ends up in the other part of the business. So let's hear about that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, pleased to sort of share. But yeah, so I guess my entry into pharmacy, I probably wasn't my first choice of career going through school, to be honest. I sort of just ended up falling into it. I probably had hopes of, like many of our peers at that sort of time, of maybe pursuing medicine, but I didn't get the required score, so I ended up just selecting pharmacy because my partner and now wife at the time, we sort of met back in grade 12, so she was coming to Hobart to study medicine. I thought, well, I've probably got to go as well, so ended up just doing pharmacy because that's what I got into. And yeah, look, I've probably had a few things that maybe sort of kept me pursuing that career. I sort of unfortunately was diagnosed with Crohn's disease in year 12, and there was a few things, pharmacy related things, that I thought, oh yeah, this is quite exciting. I was getting treated in the Launceston General Hospital for a period of time in my late year 12 year, and I was given a drug called cyclosporin at the time, and sort of wasn't really working, and there was a bit of a scary period where the surgeon ended up coming in saying, oh, this isn't working, we might have to look at surgery. But then a young pharmacist came in and said, oh, maybe we're not infusing it correctly, and they hadn't put the protective bag on the cyclosporin and the line, so I wasn't getting the full dose. So, well, that's pretty cool that you could sort of change the way a drug works within someone by just protecting it from light and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I thought, oh, well, pharmacy, yeah, that might be for me. So I continued on that path, and yeah, look, I sort of had a few struggles with the Crohn's disease through my uni time, so it took me a year longer. I went part-time for a while and then came out and had sort of hopes of getting into hospital pharmacy, and there were really sort of only two options in Hobart. I wanted to stay in Hobart, so there was 4 jobs going at the THS, and that was not many to squeeze 60 graduates into, so yeah, wow. Unfortunately missed out on one of those, but ended up landing a job with the Capital Chemist Group up at Calvary Hospital, and was fortunate that Craig took me on, Craig Cooper, and yeah, look, I sort of just landed in oncology pretty early. I had a good mentor in Helen Cooper, who still works for Epic and manages the Newtown pharmacy, and sort of just fell in love with oncology at that point in time. I worked with some really good nurses on the Gibson unit, and worked with all the doctors that I'm working with today across the journey. And yeah, I think just the pace of change in oncology medicine and drugs in particular was something that was really exciting to me as a young pharmacist, and that just my interest just sort of grew from there. So I sort of joined a few of the professional societies like Society of Hospital Pharmacists and COSA, and just wanted to really pursue my learning in that area. And yeah, then had sort of a few opportunities that came my way. So yeah, we lost the contract at Calvary in, I think it was early 2016. And at that point in time, Craig and other mentors, so Harvey Cuthill and Martin Quinn, invited Rowan and I to buy into the business, and we did. And yeah, it was sort of a bit of a transition period. We moved our pharmacy out of Calvary Hospital and down to where it is today at the Newtown location, and yeah, sort of got into business ownership for a while, and no sooner had I sort of started to feel a bit comfortable and settled in owning a business and still being in that oncology space, then Icon Group came along and yeah, acquired the business, and yeah, that was a really good transition period, and sort of through that phase, the Icon Centre was getting built down here, and I transitioned from sort of looking after the oncology up at Newtown to transitioning down to managing the pharmacy at Hobart. And yeah, I probably had high hopes that maybe one day I might sort of look at the management space. I've always loved sort of leading people through sport and through school. And yeah, that was just sort of soon after that, probably a year later in around 2018, 2019, that the site manager job came up, and I put my hat in the ring, and I think Paul Fenton at the time put a lot of faith in me, and maybe was a bit nervous because I got a 3-month sort of contract and took the role, and then yeah, the rest is sort of history. I've really enjoyed the opportunity since, and the doors that's open. So.
What a great career journey, and pretty inspiring for our people too. Matt, you talked about going to Hobart for university. Where in Tasmania did you grow up?
Grew up in Devonport in the northwest coast of Tasmania. So yeah, my wife's from there too. Both of our parents, they're up there as well. So we still get up to Devonport quite regularly, heading up there this weekend. So yeah, it's
It would be remiss of me to not ask, what do you think about Tasmania having their own AFL team?
I'm very much in the pro Tasmania AFL camp.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think it would be really good for Tasmanian people, and particularly now living in Hobart. I'm probably consider myself a Hobartian now, not a Northerner. So yeah, just to be able to walk down the street on a Friday night and watch a game of footy. I'm a big Aussie Rules fan, so yeah, I would love to see Aussie Rules in Hobart.
Yeah, good stuff. Me too. Hey, you are known for your participation in a lot of fundraising events. You organise them. We see you posting in the Icon Facebook page for our team about all the stuff you guys are doing in Tasmania. I see you posting on LinkedIn about all the community things you're involved in. What have been the highlights of some of those things that the Icon Tasmanian team have done?
I guess there's been sort of lots of highlights. I think we've got really good engagement from the team in a lot of those community activities. I do sort of see it as a very important part of what we do, particularly aligning with a lot of the cancer charities and organisations that support our patients on their journey and provide sort of a lot of that extra assistance that they need during their cancer journey and diagnosis. So yeah, there's a lot of great fundraisers and events that the Cancer Council Tasmania organise, and look, I think sort of there's a lot that can be gained out of volunteering and being involved in charities and fundraisers. Sort of read that in a number of books, and look, I do sort of find that after those events, the team and the people are on sort of a real high about sort of being able to give back to the community and do a little bit extra for people that we support, and yeah, just that community involvement fills you with a real sense of pride and sort of being active in the community. And look, now that I've sort of got a young family, I really sort of enjoy taking them along to it, and I think my wife does as well. And yeah, I mean, my son Harry, he's 6, but he sort of gets a lot out of it as well. He sort of relay walks laps with people like Louise and Sophie and engages in conversation with them and really takes a lot away from it. So yeah, just personally, I love it as well and like being involved. So
great stuff. No, I love seeing our people do those things, and I absolutely agree with you. When you are in a community like Hobart, you need to be doing those things. You need to be engaging the community because you are the community's cancer centre. Yeah, and I think that's a very, very important piece.
We are a capital city, but we're a small city and we're a small state. And yeah, I think just being engaged with the local community, I mean, there's always connections there and you get to know people and yeah, what they do and how you can sort of help each other and that sort of thing. So it's, yeah.
No, absolutely. Now, exercise is very important to you. I think you're a very keen runner, or you have been in the past, and I'm hoping you're still doing that. What tips and tricks do you have for building that exercise into a busy work life? And particularly, it's pretty cold in the mornings in Hobart for those who want to get up and run.
it can be a challenge. And look, I sort of was thinking about this because I've always been very much into exercise and sport. I'm a bit of a sport fanatic and just love being involved in sport. But in saying that, it's not always easy. I've probably had my struggles in the last sort of 12 to 18 months where I've probably lacked motivation, which I don't think I've really ever lacked since I was about sort of 12 years old. So, but sort of talked through a few strategies with Belinda Brosnan, my coach, and things like with my personal coach, and how to sort of overcome some of those things. But look, I think the biggest thing for me, while I've sort of always enjoyed exercise, is sort of having a bit of a goal and a focus. And I think particularly in Hobart and Tasmania, trying to sort of train through the winter period, I've always sort of tried to have an event or a goal or something that I'm working towards, which has always helped me. I think maybe where I've sort of got into a bit of a rut lately is COVID provided a bit of a challenge there because there weren't too many goals to work towards. But I think also for me, just has been that outlet throughout my life. Like I like sort of getting out and getting sort of running up the mountain and that sort of thing. It's a good sort of mental release as well, and you get that sort of endorphin hit after it. And I think sort of just trying to build those regular habits and that program and pattern of exercise, it then just sort of snowballs and you just keep on going with it. Well, that's what I've sort of found anyways.
No, absolutely agree. Now, what do you enjoy most about your role, and what hopes do you have for the future of cancer care and for ICON?
Look, I enjoy lots of aspects of the role. Like it's quite a varied role. It's very much sort of in that general management space. Like you probably never really know what you're doing one day to the next. I do like the fact that you still have an element of clinical connection. So there's you sort of hearing about sort of new techniques and therapies and treatments and things that are coming up as well. But yeah, look, I really enjoy managing people. I enjoy sort of being able to lead and encourage them and see people sort of grow on their career journey as well. But yeah, I probably like the variety that comes with this role. But look, I guess in looking forward and what sort of hope the future is for ICON, I think we do a lot of great things for all of the communities that we're in. And look, I just hope we continue to sort of, as I know we will, continue to progress and be sort of that patient-centered organisation that we are. I sort of hope that there's new sort of geographies on the horizon and areas that we can expand into to continue to make a real difference. It's a pleasure being able to work with clinicians and people that sort of are progressing cancer care and providing new and exciting treatment options for patients with a cancer diagnosis. So
great answer, Matt. Fantastic. Now, I like to wrap up these Elevate sessions with some rapid fire questions. So I love reading, you know that. I think you're a reader too, from memory. What book do you recommend I read?
I think this is probably a difficult question because you're probably far more well-read than me, and I wish I had your ability to devour books and information. But I don't know, you may well have read it, but a book that I read recently which sort of resonates with me and just thinking about my children and what I would like them to sort of take on board is a book called Space Makers. It's a guy called Daniel C. who lives in Hobart. But yeah, it's won a lot of business book awards recently, an American Business Book Award, an Australian Business Book Award in 2022. But that sort of book looks at strategies about how we can sort of unplug and unwind in this sort of busy technical age, and making space just to sort of disconnect from that but reconnect with family and people. So look, it's been something that maybe I'm struggling with a little bit, but I'm really trying to implement and employ in my life and maybe sort of try and set a good example to my children by not sort of being always connected to my phone and that sort of thing. But
I haven't read that one, and it's from a local author in Hobart.
Yeah, he's in Hobart, and I'd really recommend it.
I will make note of that. Thank you. Who's inspired Matt Rundle to be his best?
Well, as I said, I've probably been very fortunate, and I sort of think back on my life and career that I've been able to connect with some really great people, and that's sort of been through school, through sport, through friends and family and that sort of thing. But I guess like thinking about it, and I don't want to sort of seem really cliched, but like my dad sort of has probably been a big influence on me and my career, and you probably don't really sort of appreciate what your parents do for you until you get older. And I think particularly now that I have my own children, I think back and think, gee, some of those things that mum and dad did for me were so great, and they sacrificed a lot of their time and effort to put into me and my brother and sister, and take us to sport and encourage us to do things and that sort of thing. But yeah, Dad was sort of always there for me and coached pretty much every sport that I did, regardless of whether he played the sport or not. And look, now that Harry's sort of getting into that age, I sort of want to be that parent and that person as well. And look, I get so much enjoyment out of that as well. So coaching, I'd never played soccer. I was an Aussie rules man, but coaching Harry's soccer on a Saturday, it's really great fun and get a lot out of it. So
look, it's amazing. Almost every person I ask on Icon Elevate about who's inspired them, it's their mum or their dad, their parents. So I think, it's an amazing question to answer, that one. Now, let's date you a little bit in terms of age. The first music album you ever bought?
Well, I don't know whether I bought it or whether it was bought for me. I think Mum and Dad might have bought it for me, but when I was running last night, I sort of came to me what the album's name was. And look, I love music, but I'm not a great one to remember bands' names or connect them with songs, but I just love listening to music. I sort of takes me back to sort of where I was when I heard a particular song. So I do love that, but I'm pretty bad. But I can remember the first album that I was given, which was Jimmy Barnes' Soul Deep, which I think was a cover album. And I remember playing that over and over and over again. I think there was some classics in there, like Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
I remember it well. I remember it well.
First, I
don't think it was Jimmy's best work, but
I don't think so either.
No, I think his earlier work might have been better. But anyway, good choice, Jimmy Barnes, great Australian. Let's think about this now. A couple of questions just off the cuff. Best restaurant in Hobart?
There are many. I probably used to 6 years ago. Abby and I used to visit more restaurants and really liked doing that every Friday night. But we did have a kid-free weekend on the weekend for Abby's birthday, and we went to two places actually. A new restaurant called Pepina, which is very highly acclaimed, and the Agrarian Kitchen out at New Norfolk, which is sort of a paddock to plate type restaurant, which I can highly recommend anyone coming to Tasmania. It's probably it's not a every week type restaurant. It's quite expensive, and I think it was a 8-course sort of degustation, but as a once in a few years type thing, it's well worth the experience. It was really good.
Yeah, good stuff. Now, final question. Now, I don't know if you're a whiskey drinker or a beer drinker. Now, so you can choose. Tasmania creates incredible whiskey and also incredible beer. Anyone going down there, where should they go? Best distillery, best brewery?
There are many, as you say. I'm not a whiskey drinker. I like a glass of red wine, and I probably enjoy a beer. But I know Lark Distillery is very, very highly regarded. It's a bit remiss of me not sort of remembering all the names of the other good distilleries down here, but look, some of the boutique breweries and things like that, I guess, like Moo Brew and Mona sort of leapt to fame. I do really, it's probably my favourite beer to buy would be a Moo Brew Session Ale. I think would probably be my favourite, but there's plenty of good breweries. There's a few just down the road from me in Moona, so the Albert and things like that. So a lot of quite lucky.
So anyone visiting Tasmania must sample the local produce. I had the good fortune of taking my family to Tasmania for Christmas in 2019, just before the global pandemic, and we just had a wonderful time. It is a beautiful, beautiful place. So to the Icon team, if you're looking for a great place to have a holiday, go to Tasmania.
Probably
wonderful.
Proud Tasmanian, but I definitely echo that. It's a really lovely place, winter or summer. I think coming up we've got Dark Mofo coming up in a few days' time. So, if you ever get the chance, come down for Dark Mofo. It's a really good couple of weeks. Yeah,
good stuff. Well, Matt Rundle, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us on Icon Elevate. Keep up the great work from you and the entire team of Icon in Hobart and Tasmania, doing great work. So thanks for being my guest.
Thanks so much, Mark. It's been a pleasure and a real honour. Thank you.